A lot of the times, they are possibly in the data set, in the current data set, you don't have the data that you need, the variable that you need. Then what we normally do is we can generate a mathematical combination of existing variables, or use most of the time the if function to generate new variables. If the new variable that you desire to create has a logic relationship with the existing variables in the dataset currently. So we can use the AND function if we want to combine those restrictions, right? When all those restrictions hold, you will recognize this, otherwise not, right? So in this case, say if you do if and G2 equal to 1, F2, this is not equal to, F2 not equal to 1, right? And if that function holds, the value of the cell will be 1, otherwise 0. Okay. Also, we can apply an AND function to evaluate an argument. It will return a 1 if it is true and a 0 if it is false. Okay. So like in this case, you will get a 1 only when G2 equal to 1 and F2 not equal to 1. Otherwise, you will get a 0. Any of this term being 0, then the multiplication would be 0. All right. So just bear in mind for the if condition. So first, the first sentence tells you the argument, the condition. Okay. And then the value after that, the first value after that tells you what should be the output if true. Otherwise, what is the output if false? So we can also let Excel to produce textual information. Like in this case, if F2 equal to 1, if this argument is true, then there should be produced a female. Otherwise, there should be produced male. Okay. So let's look at the following questions. First, before getting started, I'd like to show you one function. So previously, if you have seen the previous recording, you see there are many features, many variables, right? So here, what we can do is we can hide them. And in this case, I'm going to do the reverse unhide. So you can see the border between each column. If there is no hiding information, it's going to be a single line in between. But here, between G and W, first, those two letters are not conjunctive, right? It implies there should be several lines hidden in between. And also, as you can see, the border in between these two are double lines, which means there are more than one column hidden in between. So what you can do is you can highlight these two lines, right-click, and select unhide. Then all the hidden information will be shown to you. So here, since we're going to be looking at the marital information as well as the gender information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the irrelevant ones to make our data more concise and more focused. Okay, so let's look at the first one. Previously, we talked about converting this kind of numerical information into textual information. This is what we can do, which is the if function, right? If F2, if F is the gender information, right? If F2 equal to 1, we should let Excel to produce female. So the quotation mark is to tell Excel, hey, you should give me a non-number information, in most of the case, a textual information. Okay, and then otherwise, if in this case, like in this F2 information, right, the value of female equals to 0, that means it doesn't apply to female. Say if we live in a binary world, then it is supposed to be male. Okay. And what we can do is we can drag, right, like this. Or what we can do is here, when you move your cursor to the right bottom of this selected bracket, you can actually double click. And Excel is intelligent enough to automatically apply the same calculation to all the cells that apply. For instance, it only goes up to the very bottom, say line 527, and under that, Excel is observing, oh, there is no more information, and we're gonna stop there. Okay, so this is pretty convenient. And here you can double check, right? When it's male, when F column equals to 1, it is female. When F column equals to 0, it is male produced. So here, this is how to convert textual information into, numeric information into textual information. So you can actually do the reverse, say, which is, say, in this case, we're gonna do male, okay? And the actual information is here. So if, let's apply the if function. If, in this case, W equal to, and since the one that we are invoking is a textual information, we need to add the quotation mark to tell Excel, hey, you need to apply the text in there, okay? If W2 equals to male, it's 1, otherwise 0. Because here, in this case, this column is called male, which is the opposite to the female one. Okay, and here we double click to apply the same calculation to the rest of applicable cells. Okay, for instance, here it is female is 0, it's male is 1. It's female being 1, then it's a non-male. For male is 0. So this is the number 3 that we are working on. For the sequence, let me just make it number 1. All right. Then here, if we were to find a cell that represents married female, how should that happen? So married female, we can create another binary function, right? When this person is married, and when this person is also female, married mom, right? Married woman, right? When both of those conditions apply, we should give it a check. Means the value of this feature, this variable should be 1, otherwise 0, right? Like in this case, it isn't married, but it's a man, right? So for married female, it should be 0. So how can we make it happen? Actually, a very convenient way is we can make them a multiplication. So it's married, that's right, but it's female, right? So for F2, it equals to 0 in this case. Then this observation doesn't qualify for married female, the result is 0. It would only qualify when it is a married female, when both multiplication are of the value 1. Married multiplied by female, so we still have a 1. And as you can see, it is married female in this case, it checks, right? So a very simple way to do this is to apply the multiplication method. But you need to make sense what each stands for, right? So here G1, the G column stands for whether you are married. If you're married, you get 1, right? And the F column measures whether you are female. If you're female, that's 1. So then the multiplication stands for married female when both qualifies, when the value of both equal to 1. So if you were to go to the other case, married male, now you cannot simply use the multiplication with F and G. Instead, here are multiple ways to do it. The first one is as we previously created, right? For this one to be female, we actually did the gender conversion, then it's male for X column. Then actually we can do F, we can utilize X column, right? So if it is male, it's 1. If it is, and if this observation is married, right? Then only when this observation is married and male, you will have a 1 as a result for married male. Right? So that's what we got for this one. That's the first way to do this. And now we are introducing several other ways to do this. Okay? For instance, married male in this case. Okay? Married male 2, the second method. So we're going to use if. Okay, say we haven't created column X. We haven't created column X, okay, to Z. So I'm just gonna hide them. So now we have married male 2. Let me unhide to make sure that I don't have duplicated ones. Married male 2. Yes, that's right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we didn't have the male column created. Then how can we just directly have the result? We're gonna use if. So here first of married, if you are married, right? So there's non-white, those information are not useful either. What I'm gonna do is to hide all the irrelevant information. Okay, so if you are married, that's one condition, right? That's the first one. And also if you are a non-female, in this case, it just assumes a binary sex, okay? So what we are gonna do is we need both condition to meet. So we're gonna use and. If first you're married, means G2 equal to 1. And if you are a non-female, means F2 should not equal to 1. If that is the case, then we have a married male. Okay, otherwise we don't. So this is another way to do it. Okay, or the method 3, married male 3. Okay, what we can do is to utilize the n function. Okay, say, let's do the n function. Say G2 equal to 1. Here, as you can see, when G2 equal to 1, it produces 1, right? And when G2 equals to 0, it produces 0 here. So this is the function of n function. When the argument holds, you will get 1 for the result. It's just to check a binary argument. So here, the first one is G2 equal to 1. And the second one is F2, again, not equal to 1. See, when both conditions are hold, you're gonna have a married male, right? So the first one, G2 equal to 1, that means you're married, and the first term will be produced a 1, and the second one is when F2 doesn't equal to 1, right? And you're gonna have you're gonna produce again a 1. So that means when F2 doesn't equal to 1, what does that mean? That means it's a male, right? So it means it's a male and married, and then the result of multiplication equal to 1. And we are gonna apply this to the rest. Say if you ever get insecure about the result, you just double click, and here, just take a look back, and G10 equal to 1, what does that mean? That means the 10th observation, when it's married, right? G10 equal to 1, that means when it's married, the first term of this multiplication equal to 1. The second one, F10 is not equal to 1. F10 is not equal to 1, that means this is a male, right? So the first one is married, the second one is male. So it means this observation is a married male. When that applies, the result will be 1. And that's the case.